Hey everyone, it's Frankie. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me for today's leg session. Hope you're ready to get strong through your legs. We're going to have our hands on our hips, feet underneath our hips, toes pointing forwards. As you exhale, lift the heels to warm up through the ankles and take an inhale as you lower the heels. Amazing. Trying not to let the feet flare out to the sides, but try and maintain that parallel position with the feet with the knees. If you want to test your balance, you can try with one leg lifted, and as you exhale, draw in your belly button to keep you strong and stable. Amazing. If that feels like too much, just keep both feet down, sticking with those heel raises to warm up through the calves, through the thighs, the front of our legs, through the feet, through the ankles. Changing sides if you're going for that single leg. Nice deep breaths. And then roll out through the ankles, nice circles through the feet. And then we'll warm up through the hips by coming to a side position. I'm holding onto the wall. Hold on to something if you need it, and you'll take your leg forward and back, warming up through the hip flexors. Nice deep breaths. And then changing sides. Trying not to arch through your lower back through these ones, but really just moving at the hip. Amazing. From there, we will find a squat. Can you lower your hips all the way down to find that yogi squat? If you can't get your heels down, try taking your feet a little bit further apart, but really sit back in that squat to push your heels into the floor. You can push your elbows into your knees, and you can add in that rotation if it feels good for you. Opening up the chest as you exhale. Press the other arm into the knee to feel those inner thighs. Or just keep that hold if the rotation doesn't feel good. And then gently take your hands down, straighten out your legs, relax your head, your neck, your shoulders, and then bend your knees to warm up through the hamstrings. So try and keep your hands on your ankles or your shins, just bending through the knees, lowering the hips. Amazing job. Nice deep breaths, and then straighten out those legs, relax your head, your neck, your shoulders. Take a gentle rock side to side if that feels good for the back of your legs. Nice deep breaths. When you're ready, slowly rolling up. Your head is the last thing to come up. Lift up the arms, roll back the shoulders, and then we'll come to the top of our mat or your towel and have your feet under your hips. We'll bend through the knees, pushing into the feet. We're finding those crab walks, staying as low as you can, pressing into the whole of the feet to work the front of the legs. And you want to maintain that neutral position with your spine. Chest stays open. If you need to come up and reset, you can, or you're staying low to keep that tension through the legs. Amazing job. Keep the core engaged, shoulders rolled back, down, away from the ears. If you want more challenge, you're lifting your arms up, lengthening from your fingertips all the way down to those hips that are pressing back. Amazing job. Stand all the way up. Nice deep breaths. From there, we'll have our feet under our hips. We'll bend through one knee, but first, imagine that string pulling your head up. Tuck the tailbone under. We're going to then bend through one knee, opening up the hip on an exhale. Inhale to lower. Try and keep the hip bones pointing forward, so we don't want to open out too much to the side, but try and keep the knee pointing forwards with the hips. Amazing. And you're pushing the weight into that foot that's planted into the mat. If you want, you can lift up the arms, shoulders stay down away from the ears. To draw in your core, exhale, belly button to spine as you lift. Working into those glutes, through the inner thighs as we open the hips. If you want more core engagement, you're lifting that knee. As you exhale, lift that knee towards your chest. Amazing. You can always do this without that knee crunch into your chest, and also with your hands on your hips if it feels better for you. We're just doing that knee crunch. Nice deep breaths. Exhale, pull in from your core. Amazing job. Roll out those arms, shake out those legs. Have that little rest and reset before we go on the other side. Tailbone tucked, core engaged. We'll take that exhale as you open the knee out. Inhale to bring it back. Pushing the weight this time into the other foot to maintain that strength through the standing leg. If you want, you can lift up those arms, lengthening the fingertips to the sky, ensuring the shoulders stay down away from the ears. Nice deep breaths, belly button to spine, adding in that knee crunch if you're able to. Keep that foot hovering off the mat. Exhale as you lift. Inhale as you lower. Amazing. We'll just stick with those knee crunches if you're able to. Nice deep breaths just for a few more seconds. Engage that core. And relax all the way down. Roll out those shoulders, shake out the legs. Nice deep breaths. And then when you're ready, we'll take a wide stance with our feet, toes and knees pointing out. We'll take an inhale as we bend through the knees, pushing them out over our ankles. Exhale as you lift, lifting the arms if you're able to, drawing in the core, squeezing the glutes as you exhale up. If you're able to, lift those heels on that exhale up. Inhale, lower the heels, bend through the knees. If that feels like too much, just stick with those squats. You can always have your hands on your hips if it feels better for you. But can you add in that pulse at the bottom? Tiny pulse lift and lower of those glutes. Amazing job, super tough through those legs, through those quads. If you can, hold in that lifted position, just lifting and lowering those heels. Drawing in the core as you exhale, lift, push into the toes, you've got this. And then can we hold in that squat with those hands on our hips or lifted, just doing those pulses. Can you lift one heel? Can you lift the other heel? Or can you try lifting both heels? Push into those toes, nice deep breaths. See if you can get even lower in that squat with or without those heels lifted. Super strong, lift it all the way up, shake out those legs, have that little rest and reset. We'll stretch out those quads now by taking your foot or ankle. Try and keep your knees close together as you feel that release through the front of your leg. And then changing sides, pushing the knees together. Nice deep breaths. And then gently lower down. We're going to circle out through our hips to release any tension we might have built throughout the day. Moving through the hip joints to circle the knee, to circle the hip, alternating sides. Nice deep breaths. Super, super strong through those legs today. I'm so proud of you. I hope you're feeling wonderful and enjoying this week's workouts. When you're ready, we'll shake out those legs. We'll take one ankle onto our knee and we'll sit down in that chair with the hands interlocked into your chest. You can hold on to something if you need to and try and lower down as much as you can before lifting, changing sides, releasing through the hips, through the glutes. Nice deep breaths. With every exhale, you lower. And then gently release up. Widening out the feet now. We'll lower down to release through the back of the legs. Reaching for one ankle or shin to feel the back of that leg, the hamstring, the calf, after all those heel raises. Nice deep breaths, changing to the other side. With every exhale, can you deepen into that stretch? And then gently come back to the middle. We'll take a slow roll up from the lower spine, middle spine, as you gently lift, rolling up through the spine. Take an inhale as you reach the arms up. Exhale as you reach over to one side. Inhale up, exhale over to the other side. Releasing through the core, amazing job. Give yourselves a little clap. You deserve it. Thank you so much for joining me and see you tomorrow.